Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to show how to assemble one of the models from this set. Now the model we're going to be building is Fecular Flyblown. However, before we begin building we need to get a few bits together. Now the first thing we'll need is a set of clippers which look like these. Just makes it a lot easier to clip out those parts from the sprue. We also recommend reading over the instruction guide just to help familiarise yourself with which bits go where. You'll also notice they're all numbered as well, which just makes it a lot easier to identify the parts you need to clip out. So without further ado, we're going to begin building Fecular Flyblown. So the first parts we're going to clip out are parts 1 and 2, which are located here and here. So we'll start with part 2, which is just the hand here. It's only got one little bit attached to it. So what we need to do is get the flat of the clippers, get as close to the part as possible, and then just snip that out like so. Just going to place that onto the table. I'm going to move out to clipping out part 1, which is just here. So all you need to do is just keep getting that flat of the clippers all the way around, spinning the sprue around just to make it easy to access. There are some parts that have pegs, which are part of the push fit mechanism, so try not to clip those off. So just keep working your way around, like so. Once you clip those two parts out, all we need to then do is just attach them together. So all we're doing is getting the arm and attaching it to this part just like so. There we are, those parts now assembled. We're going to move on to clipping out part 3. So for this we need the sprue. We've got part 3 just here. So again, as before, we'll just start moving around and clipping those parts out using the flat of the clippers as close as possible. And again, be mindful not to clip off those pegs because they're super important. Just going to hold on to that bit before I clip out the last bit so it doesn't go flying off. There we are. So those bits now clipped out. I'm just going to hold that in place there. And all we're going to do is then attach this to the rest of the build. So you've got some pegs there or some holes, some pegs there, and you've got some holes just here. So all we're going to do is just line those up like so. Make sure they're nicely aligned. Sometimes there is a little bit of wibbly wobbliness involved. And they are, once they're forced together, it's now assembled. There we are with those parts attached. What we're going to do now is clip out parts 4 and 5. So you'll locate these on the sprue here. So part 4 is the arm with the staff and part 5 is a head. So all I'm going to do is again start clipping those bits out, again getting the flat of those clippers as close as possible and then just gently snipping round. Just make your way all the way around and obviously be mindful not to clip off any pegs because again they are important. It's also worth when you get to bits like this, just hold a part of the sprue before clipping that last bit so it doesn't go flying off. And just grab that and place that down like so. And then we've got a head just here. I'll just get my clippers in like so and clip that out as well. And all we're going to now do is just attach those to the main build. So all I'm going to do is put a head on. So we've just got the body there and again you've got a peg and a hole. So I'm just going to slide that in gently like so. Sometimes you do need to force these bits because they do go in at odd angles. So that's the head on there. And I'm just going to get the left arm and attach that on as well. There we go. With those bits now attached, all we need to clip out now is 6 and 7. So you'll find these on the sprue here. So 6 is the hair and 7 is the base. So we'll start with the hair first. So obviously you've got some long strands here, so just be very mindful not to actually snip the hair too much. Again, working your way around and again firmly holding that part before you actually clip that last bit off so it doesn't go flying away. I'm just going to place that onto the table and then we're just going to clip out the base. So again, just working your way around until you clip out that last part. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just attach the hair first before we start actually attaching her to the base. So you've got a little hole just by right eye there. And again, you've got a peg just on the hair. So again, just to line those up. Once you're happy, place those in. She's got a hair and a crown like so. And again, you've got a few little pegs on the feet, which is again, line those up with the base like so there. And just firmly place her in like so. And finally, to complete Fecular, all we need to do now is clip out a little familiar, which is known as a retchling. So these are parts 8 and 9. So you just locate them just on the sprue here in this corner. So again, as before, just as close as possible to the sprue and gently snipping around. So I'm just going to hold that bit firmly before I cut that last bit off. Just going to place that onto the table. And then you just got one little bit just holding that. So our best position is probably on its head. And then just snip that bit there near its bum. So once we've got those two bits, I'm just going to attach them together like so. Again, you've got a peg and a hole. Just align them up, make sure you're happy with it. Once they're aligned, I've got a bit of a head there to be mindful of. So obviously they're quite small as you can see, so a little bit fiddly. So there we are, once they're clipped like so. Now there's two things you can do here. If you're just going to not paint them, then just attach them where the pegs show. But I'm actually just going to gently place this in like so. So when it gets around to painting, I can just move it around out of the way and then actually paint the model behind like so. And there we are, Fecular Flyblown is now built. And as you can see, that model is really quick and easy to build like the rest of the models are in the kit. Now there are a couple of things to remember when building this model. Firstly, always use a set of modelling clippers, as it makes it a lot easier to cut those bits out of the sprue. And always have a read over the instruction guides before you start building as well, just to help familiarise yourself with which bits go where. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed building your own models from the warband, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.